Very good evening. You're watching the India Development Debate. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. Now, it's supposed to be 4 days away from the date when the 21-day lockdown ends. Already, two states, Odisha and just today the state of Punjab, have announced an extension of the lockdown. Punjab will be extending this lockdown till the 1st of May. Meanwhile, states like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra, among others, are considering some sort of an extension of the lockdown for at least a few days. Now, all of this comes a day before a very crucial meeting the Prime Minister will have with states to figure out a holistic plan across the country. Now, a couple of things come to mind. Remember that one of the key purposes of the lockdown, of course, was to stop the spread to whatever extent possible of COVID-19, but also to buy time for the state machinery. The hope is that through this lockdown, we will be able to identify where the hotspots are, where the pandemic has actually spread, where the disease has actually spread, and also give the medical infrastructure time to catch up and prepare for what may come. Now, at the end, and we're reaching nearly the end of this lockdown, the question is, how far have we come? Do we need a blanket extension of the lockdown across the country, or can we have a phased lift in some places? Well, to speak about this, I'm joined today by representatives of the state of Maharashtra and Punjab. Remember, Punjab has announced an extension. Maharashtra has the highest number of cases. I'm also joined by Dr. Rajan Sharma, the National President of the Indian Medical Association, and our very own Mythili Bhusnurmath. Welcome to all of you. Let me go across first to Mr. Jitendra Awhad, who's a cabinet minister in the state of Maharashtra. Mr. Awhad, thank you so much for speaking with us on ET Now. Very important to hear from you, considering that Maharashtra has the highest number of cases and Mumbai is a hotspot. Can you first start with your assessment of the situation and why the numbers are so high in Maharashtra?
See, basically, I'll tell you, Maharashtra Maharashtra has 3 cities which are full of migrant laborers and which are highly densely populated. One is Mumbai, the other is Thane, and the third is Pune. It is an area of industrial workers. And you know how the spread happened. We started our anti-COVID program only on somewhere near 14. Maharashtra started on 14th or 15th. But India, the whole country started it a little late. So probably we did not take it that seriously initially. But we should have taken into consideration what had happened in China and what was happening in Italy. But nevertheless, let's forget that. But I think because of the density of the population, and we don't have that much of facility where we can have mass checks. The mass checks were very important, and the laboratories were not set. They were not ready with kits. Now that situation, you said that states were given a buying time, and now we are set. Probably Mumbai has the maximum number of tests done, considering the all India count, and Maharashtra has the maximum number of counts. There are districts in Maharashtra where not a single case is there. But Mumbai, Thane and Pune looks like a dangerous hotspot, and that's why people like me who are on the ground feel that this lockdown should be extended, though it is economically hitting very badly. But then survival is a must, and we can come up, we can strive through it, we can pull our economy up. But at this juncture, saving lives is what the priority is. And so I will appeal to the central government also that it should let loose the state governments in this federal structure, allow them to take on this corona war on their own and fight it out vigorously. It is not that who is running the state, who is running the center. It is all about saving lives. And I think every government understands the price of every life and what the family is going through. So in difficult times, I think people should join hand and fight this war against corona.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And, the work of the Maharashtra government and the activity which is shown, and many state governments, in fact, I won't just pinpoint one, have also been commended. But let me come to the specific question. Odisha and Punjab have already announced an extension of the lockdown. Is Maharashtra contemplating one? Are you looking possibly in your internal discussions at a blanket extension of the lockdown? Or will you open things up in districts which have not been affected, considering this is also harvest season coming up?
See, we can look this into two sections. One is the rural section, one is the urban section. Now, rural section survives on the agriculture produce. The urban section is the biggest buyer. But looking at the current situation, the agriculture produce will not be able to come to the urban areas, because urban areas, in my area, I today announced that not even a vegetable vendor will be allowed to come in. I told my people very clearly कि दाल भात खाओ और जिंदा रहो. और जिंदा रहना important है. So what I think is this division of rural and urban will be there. And now the city, the district where I am the guardian minister, Solapur, there is not a single positive case reported, though heavy checking has been done. So I think inter-district transportation or something like that, or some business should be allowed in the districts where there is absolute no case, or one or two cases. But spots like Mumbai, spots like Thana, where the chain has to be broken, we will need some time, because Mumbai cannot survive without a local train or without a mass transport system. Now, starting the mass transport system will itself kill Mumbai. So as a Mumbaiker, as a born Mumbaiker, I will be dead against starting Mumbai at any cost. May it be socially, economically, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mumbai cannot start now. Mumbai has to give some gap. Mumbai has to break the chain.
Absolutely.
Mumbai, Thana, Pune has to be. And that curfew also, my
Yes.
chief minister is working so hard and is very emotional and sentimental. He doesn't want to trouble people. But I have been time and again saying that the curfew should be military-infused curfew. Not a single person should be allowed to get out of his hutment for 14 days. And I'm sure that we will be able to break the chain. But the way the Maharashtra government is working from day one, irrespective of the critics and
Yes.
the opposition critics,
Mr. Awhad,
I'm quite confident that Maharashtra government will fight this corona war
Yes.
and get out of this.
Yeah, this is all, absolutely, and this is all about all of us as Indians as well. Just a couple of very important things that I want to ask you. Now, when you say that cities like Mumbai, hotspots, the lockdown needs to be extended, one understands that perfectly, it's logical. Till when? And is there an exit plan? Right now, we seem to be just trying to fight the fire, in any way possible. We're looking at a case like Dharavi, a situation like Dharavi, where, you don't know if there is a rapid spread, we'll be in big trouble. So what then is the plan? Will you be able to do this once you test even more widely? How will you actually ease this out?
That area curfew, like areas will have to be decided, cordoned off. Like suppose if 5-number houses you find a patient in 5-number house. So 1 to 4 and 5 to 10. Everybody should be cordoned off. They should be tested immediately. And the next thing is they shouldn't be allowed to get out of the home. Irrespective of their needs, they should be locked into their home. They should not be allowed to move. If this method, which was done in Bhilwara, I think that has set example. And my minister Jayant Patil, who did it in Islampur, on one fine day there were 22 patients in Islampur, and now after a month or 25 days, there is not a single patient. So things which have been done by others should be followed by others, and I think every state will have to come out, and they should follow examples which have been set by certain people in those respective states. And like Telangana took a decision that shoot out. If anybody comes on the road, shoot him. Now that was an extreme decision, but then the need of the hour calls for.
No, come on, Mr. Awhad. Are you really, the whole Telangana government came out and explained that statement. Are you really pushing for such extreme measures?
No, no, I am not
People are
pushing
doing
for
the
extreme,
best
but
they can.
people
Mumbai is
out of
also a
social
city where 7,
constraints.
8 people sometimes live in a one-room house.
So that is what I said. I have been always, I maintain my statement that Mumbai has a social difficulty. 10 people stay in one room. And when in normal days, 4 people sleep inside and 6 people sleep outside on the road. So 10 at the time have never stayed in home all their lifetime. On this day, they cannot stay. And now once the heat starts, the summer starts, it will be impossible in areas like Dharavi for people to stay in one single room. So circumstances will be very, very, very serious, and there are challenges in front of the government. But I am sure under the leadership of Uddhav Thackeray and the way he is performing, we will fight this war and come out.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. I know you're a busy man on the ground. The entire state government and all state governments and machinery now have to really be on the job. So thank you for taking out the time and speaking to us, Mr. Jitendra Awhad, State Minister in the Maharashtra government. Let me get a medical view here as well. Dr. Rajan Sharma, there is a lot of talk back and forth about the importance of extending this. And this is a very simple layman question. What happens even if this is extended in certain areas or blanket across till the end of April? After the 1st of May, COVID-19 is still going to be around. So at what point will we be comfortable, stepping out and resuming activities and dealing with this situation? Is that going to be when we find a vaccine, which will be almost a year from now?
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'm happy to note, as far as battle against COVID is concerned, despite a small difference of approach, everybody is on the same page. And this was something which our country was not prepared for at all. Rather, the entire world was not prepared for. Now, coming to your basic question of extending the lockdown. See, more or less, we are seeing what are the red spot areas across the country. State-wise, we can zero down, like Honorable Minister from Maharashtra was saying, Maharashtra and Pune, and maybe Sangli and Nasik to some more extent. But rest of Maharashtra is totally incident-free, COVID-19 positive case free. Now, we have to take a pragmatic approach, keeping in mind, as he mentioned, Bhilwara example. If one case positive turns out in one house, it cannot be 5 houses above and 5 houses below. Then that area of 2 kilometers has to be cordoned off, and house to house search for clinical examination for influenza-like symptoms and extensive testing, which is now available and which mostly like Delhi has announced, and obviously in Dharavi also Maharashtra government has announced. I welcome the move. Now that lockdown and scan that area for entire thing. But in the long run, districts which are not, like in Gujarat there are 12 districts, many districts they have not even reported one case. So on an experimental basis, seal those borders of those districts and allow limited movement, like many essential services, like barbers, then fresh people, the laundry people, some small vegetable vendors are allowed 2 hours. Many other things are there which are required. On an experimental basis, yes, allowed. Even if one case turns positive, you can subject that particular place to a 14-day lockdown and then again go in for an extensive combing operation. House to house, cleaning of decontamination, street decontamination, even the facilities, room decontamination, the people contamination, personal hygiene, cloth mask, ever since the Spanish flu till now. Personal hygiene, respiratory etiquettes, and isolation still remain the hallmark to handle any influenza-like epidemic, and that has been our strategy. This strategy of lockdown has worked. But now we will have to take a pragmatic approach, because you also have to take in mind the psychological problems which are happening now of a person, people who are confined indoors. Thank you.
No, absolutely. It's a tough challenge. This is an issue which has to be addressed from so many angles and perspectives. Mythili, let me get you in to the discussion. Now, corporate bodies, FICCI and CII have given their own, recommendations of what a phased exit plan looks like, and they're interesting recommendations. One among them is that people between the ages of 22 and 39 from areas which have had no cases should be allowed to go out and work, just to get the engine moving, and if they are really doing crucial things as well. Do you think that there is a picture which can have a more nuanced approach rather than a blanket extension of a lockdown?
Well, it's a very tough call, Tamanna, and frankly, such suggestions are fine on paper, but they're extraordinarily difficult to implement. So, what really I think the government should do is to find out, has the purpose for which the lockdown was imposed in the first case, has that been served? Have we really been able to flatten the curve? Have we seen that spike, which I think we have not yet seen? If you see the experience of Western countries, there is a sharp spike when you reach stage 3. And though there is some controversy on whether we are at stage 3 or not, the general view is that we really haven't seen the peak of it. This is just the tip of the iceberg. So if at this time we lift the lockdown, there is a danger that all the benefits that we got from the lockdown in the first place, those might be lost. So I think it's very important that the Prime Minister takes a view, considering the views from the medical fraternity as also from the different states. Because if you look at the states' experience, you have cases like Odisha and Kerala, which have had much, much more success than many other states, and without resorting to the kind of very harsh measures that were resorted to in Bhilwara. So I think suggestions that the CII has made, 22 to 39, how are you going to implement these things? So I think if you ensure that what are the essential activities that are necessary to keep basic life going, like as you talked about in the rural areas, harvesting has to be done. Once the harvest is done, the produce has to be moved to the urban areas, because we really cannot stock it all in
I'm just going to stop. Mythili, I'm just interrupting you for a second. Please forgive me. I have with me Mr. KBS Sidhu, Special Chief Secretary of Punjab, now joining us. Remember, the state of Punjab has announced an extension today till the 1st of May on the lockdown. Mr. Sidhu, thank you for speaking with us here at ET Now. Let me begin by just getting your take on why the state felt the extension was necessary at this point.
I think essentially there were two reasons behind this. There were accumulated benefits of the lockdown in terms of isolating the patients who are concerned. We wanted to leverage that further. Number two, we are also beginning the harvest, which of course cannot be postponed. So it is a huge operation. We are operating so many mandis, and almost over 17 million tons of wheat is going to come in a very limited set of circumstances. So therefore, perceiving or even imagining a lockdown meltdown, so to say, would not have been imaginable or feasible at this stage. More importantly, the public opinion was also in favor of extending this lockdown, because in terms of the number of cases that were being detected, the classes of cases, whether they were coming from clusters or from people with absolutely no history of any foreign travel or contact, everyone felt, and it was a unanimous view, that we have to extend the lockdown in order to take full benefit of whatever little suffering we as a state would have gone through. These 2-3 reasons put together kind of left this as the only logical decision to extend the lockdown till 1st of May. And the government didn't want people to be in a state of suspense till the last day and plan their lives accordingly. So that was basically the reason why we have extended this lockdown, a very conscious decision.
Yes. Yes. Mr. Sidhu, what happens after the 1st of May? Is there a graded exit plan being put into place? As you mentioned, the harvest season is a crucial one, and there are already, reports that farmers are finding it difficult to get labor to come and actually help at this point. So how will these two issues be sorted?
In terms of the labor being the availability, you're very right. There is shortage of it. The silver lining is that our own youth and people who normally would sit idle, they don't to work. But saying and speculate or the forcing at this stage as to what would happen on the 1st of May, one would closely look at the situation. What are the numbers in the state, in the country? If we are within manageable limits, for instance, if you are at 150 today, at that time you are under 1,000, I think, and the trend is on the decrease, we would be in favor of a gradual kind of opening up of the lockdown. But if at that particular stage we are sitting in the vicinity of 5,000, closer to 10,000, and proportionate other figures, then of course a different would have to be taken. All the absolute numbers are not the only thing to look at. It is, as I said before, where the numbers come from. Are they from the contacts? Are they from a diffuse population? And what is the delta? How many new numbers are coming every day? So all those decisions would be taken. Of course, we are all acutely conscious of the decision that this lockdown cannot be indefinite. So this has to be for a limited period, and sooner than later.
Yeah.
The country as a whole and the state must eventually plan for a gradual opening up of the lockdown. Now, what gets into the opening of first would be a bit of subjective matter, would depend on the local situation. Someone would say this industry should go on first. Someone would plead for the small-scale industry. Someone would go on for medium and small, and otherwise from the organized sector. Those are debatable issues as to how the sequencing has to be done. Eventually, one has to go in for an opening, because an indefinite closure and grinding to a halt of the economy, which is by definition money in motion, is not a solution.
Absolutely. I'm glad you echo that, Mr. Sidhu. There are few policy makers who look at that aspect as well, because there are daily wage laborers or those who are really on the edge right now, who may not be able to sustain. But just let me come back to why I was asking you that 1st of May question, because while this is a question that states are looking at individually, don't we need a holistic plan? Don't we need to figure out how we can start movement of at least some goods across state borders at this point?
Of course, right now, for instance, the essential commodities, what has been classified as essential government of India's list, the state of Punjab has not added anything further to that. The movement of that, opening up the couriers, the house-to-house delivery in terms of food, even if the restaurants are not open, so those type of things have been permitted. Eventually, when we have to open up, as I said, this lockdown entails a huge financial and economic cost. This is one of those peculiar circumstances where each and every stakeholder is a loser. Under normal circumstances, you could have a policy decision where there could be winners and losers. So this, at least, is a scenario globally where 99.99% of the people involved, big or small, are losers. So therefore, we have to set the economy ultimately into motion. As I said before, how you sequence it, there could be arguments on the both sides. One would say, please start off with the organized sectors, because ultimately, if the things are produced, things are sold, there is the GST, which the states are relying on. And in the GST, all the states are heavily dependent on the devolutions of their share from the central government.
Yeah.
And that will become possible if and only if we set this economy back into motion. It is not going to be a simple process.
Yes. Absolutely, absolutely. The GST point is well taken. Industry is asking, for a deferring of GST, because if they don't run, there is no revenue. It will be difficult to pay taxes as well. But we'll have to wait and watch. For now, the state of Punjab has been the second state to announce an extension till the 1st of May. Of course, this is a ever developing situation. Thank you so much, Mr. Sidhu, for speaking with us today. That's all the time really I have on this special edition of the India Development Debate. We'll have to see how many states extend this lockdown. Is it a holistic national picture? Does it depend on where the hotspots are? And even if there is an extension in more places, the question to be asked is there an exit plan? Because we need to start working on one right now. That's all the time we have. Thank you for joining us.